A popular AEW star has been putting their foot down backstage, but first, what did CM Punk have to say on Friday Night SmackDown? For the first time in 10 years, CM Punk would make his return to SmackDown last night following his Monday Night Raw return last week, with him laying down the blueprint for a number of potential matchups going forward. The first and biggest name mentioned by Punk was Roman Reigns. This, as the Second City Saint, acknowledged the tribal chief and his accomplishments. But with that said, he would remind the undisputed Universal Champion that he is the original Paul Heyman guy, and that Paul was his wise man first. Punk would then tease the possibility of entering January's Royal Rumble match in order to main event WrestleMania to finish his own story, a light-hearted jab at Cody Rhodes. Punk also paid homage to LA Knight at one point as a potential ally to take on the Bloodline alongside Randy Orton. Punk would then address Seth Rollins, who's been a vocal critic of him as of late, noting that Seth isn't even the man of his own household, a reference to his wife Becky Lynch. The straight-edge superstar would then name drop Kevin Owens, who reportedly isn't very fond of Punk in real life, stating that the two are probably too similar to get along. Punk would then add that Owens is a little too prickly for his liking, and he doesn't want to work with somebody that randomly punches people in the face backstage because it's 2023 and you just can't be doing that. This was of course a reference to the brawl out situation in AEW, where Punk would find himself in a physical altercation with Kevin's real life friends, the Young Bucks, with his pronunciation of the word randomly perhaps suggesting that the other side wasn't so innocent. He would then confirm that on the next episode of Raw he will make a decision regarding which brand he will sign for, even name dropping NXT as a potential option, giving them the rub at the same time. Punk would then reiterate his goal of main eventing WrestleMania before dropping the mic in the ring. The returning WWE champion would also appear in a number of backstage segments throughout the night, where Punk was seen about to enter the locker room of the Bloodline before he decided against it. He'd then come face to face with Kevin Owens, who laughed in his face when asked where Nick Aldis' office was. Later on, Punk would eventually find the office in question before discussing potential terms with the SmackDown GM were he to sign for the blue brand, this before Cody Rhodes showed up to welcome him back to WWE. Punk was also seen wishing LA Knight and Randy Orton luck before their tag team match against Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa in the night's main event. The CM Punk in-ring promo itself was much better than the one we saw last week on Raw to close the show, and it had all the bite that the last one lacked, which was somewhat down to the Raw promo being cut short due to other segments and matches going long. We now know why Punk is back and what he wants to do, and now there's a story to build on. Ibu of Wrestle Purist would provide an update regarding the SmackDown promo on X last night, with him confirming that Punk pretty much had free reign to say what he wanted, adding that talent that were name dropped were fully aware of what was to come, and he would write, "I can say that he did go out there and simply say what he wanted to say. What I mean by this was he 100% spoke in his own chosen words and was not produced. Given an open window of time to say what he wanted, his creative is a collaborative process. He's not friends with a couple of the people he mentioned, but nobody was blindsided at all, and business is business." But what did you make of CM Punk's SmackDown promo, and how do you think it compared to his first words last week on Raw? Let me know in the comments down below. And before we continue, I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you don't mind, double check that you subscribe to the channel below, especially if you're a regular viewer of our news updates, as it would really mean a lot. As it stands, we're just over 3,000 away, so it's going to be a tough task, but I know from the analytics that a lot of people that watch the content haven't yet subbed, but do come back for more, so if you're one of them, I'd really appreciate you helping me out. But with that said, let's move on to the next story. And next, TNA Wrestling have agreed a deal with WWE's parent company. In January, Impact Wrestling will be reverting back to the infamous TNA Wrestling name at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, a move that is expected to draw returning eyes to the promotion to see what they have to offer. Ahead of the change, Impact have announced a brand new streaming deal that has got fans wondering if they could be linking up with WWE at some stage in the future. An official press release would drop last night that revealed in January TNA will be launching the TNA Plus streaming service, this as part of a multi-year deal with Endeavor Streaming, which is a part of the American company the Endeavor Group. Endeavor is of course the owners of the TKO Group, which is the name of the merger between UFC and WWE. The press release reads, This partnership combines TNA's expertise as a top professional wrestling promoter with Endeavor Streaming's unparalleled knowledge in delivering innovative direct-to-customer offerings, marketing, tools, analytics, and predictive modeling. TNA Plus will leverage Endeavor's experience working with the world's biggest sports organizations to scale TNA Plus's business operations and further grow its fan base and digital revenues. In addition to reclaiming the iconic TNA moniker, the TNA Plus app is relaunching with an all-new dynamic look, as well as expanded options and increased functionality. The app puts the power back in the fans' hands, delivering the ultimate premium experience where they can stream the company's flagship weekly TV show, view TNA's full archive, get exclusive original content and wrestler-created series, and even have the chance to interact with some of TNA's top stars. The statement adds that TNA Plus will be available via iOS, tvOS, and Android mobile apps, as well as big screen devices such as Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku, with more platforms to follow. Due to Endeavor's direct links to WWE, there's been fan speculation on whether or not we'll see TNA work with WWE going forward. Whilst that's unclear, what we do know is that the WWE network, which is still active internationally outside the United States, is also managed by Endeavor Streaming. That doesn't necessarily mean something has or hasn't been agreed going forward, but there's no credible reports or official announcements to suggest something is in the works just yet. And next we have the latest on the recent legal issues in WWE. On Monday Night Raw, fans would notice that during a video package to hype the WWE World Heavyweight title match between Seth Rollins and Jey Uso, the word yeet would be blurred out of Jey's t-shirt. This was linked to an existing trademark held by independent wrestler Casey Huffman, who has owned the term for wrestling purposes since July 2021, with the Wrestling News revealing that a cease and desist was filed by Huffman to WWE, leading to both parties working on a potential resolution. Well, it seems that the talks are now over, as Jey Uso would take to X to simply write yeet with a blue love heart, apparent confirmation that he's able to use the phrase once again. Casey Huffman's trademark filing is now listed as a dead application, refused, dismissed, or invalidated on the official United States Patent and Trademark Office website, with him seemingly agreeing to let the term go, likely in exchange for money from WWE. It's safe to say that we're set to hear Jey yeeting from here on out. Next up, we have the latest on the development of a recent WWE signing. Tonight, WWE present the NXT Deadline event on the road from Bridgeport, Connecticut, with 7 matches confirmed on the card. One of those bouts will pit former AEW star Brian Pillman Jr., now known as Lexis King, up against former NXT champion Carmelo Hayes, with the second-generation wrestler making his WWE Premium Live event debut. King has been with WWE since the summer, with him signing shortly after his All Elite Wrestling contract expired in July. Speaking on last night's NXT Deadline media call, Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative, Shawn Michaels, would discuss Pillman Jr.'s development thus far, giving praise to the son of a legend, and he would say, "Look, I'll say this, I think he's been doing a great job. I think he understands he's gotten tossed in the deep end. He's been doing everything he can. He's been working well with us. He asks us a lot of questions. He's a hungry kid, and he's somebody that's adapted and adjusted to the structure we have in NXT in a real positive way. I think he's somebody that will be a prime example of what NXT can do for you, because he's somebody that did need that structure. He's going to be out there with Carmelo Hayes, going to have a hell of a dance partner to be out there with. I won't lie, we're looking forward to it as much as you are. We want to see what he's got. We believe there's a lot of potential there, and again, not to say that his whole career rests on this performance by any stretch, but I think we all know the lineage, right? He's got a little experience, but I don't know that he's got experience on this level yet, and to be honest, there's only one way to find out, and that's to rip the band-aid off. And next, a popular AEW star has been putting their foot down backstage. It would recently be reported by Fightful Select that Bryan Danielson currently finds himself as a member of the AEW Disciplinary Committee, with him being one of the key figures in recommending what should happen next when it came to the fate of CM Punk and his eventual termination this past September. In a follow-up report from Fightful that dropped last night, we now have even more details on Danielson's responsibilities backstage, with him also the one to hand out fines fines to talent when required, and the report notes the notoriously disconnected from social media Danielson has been at least partially responsible for handing out fines regarding social media conduct in recent weeks. Most of the conduct is related to helping AEW look as professional as possible as a company and can extend to retweets and likes. We've not heard that fines are particularly common. Fightful adds that Bryan is considered a locker room leader in the back and has led many meetings following AEW All in London, where he explained the committee's decision to advise Tony Khan to terminate CM Punk, and also spoke earlier this year as to the importance of proper conduct during interviews. Bryan himself has been making light of the reports, with him demanding that he would fine anybody that didn't tune into AEW Rampage last night for his Continental Classic match with Daniel Garcia, where the American Dragon secured 3 more points in the Blue League. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 wrestlers you forgot wrestled in AEW.